you're going to have the perfect morning if you follow the steps labeled out in this video. So a perfect morning starts with having a perfect night. This is why I always push for having a night routine that has a specific set of rules and things that you should be doing. The first one is no electronics and no bright lights, and particularly it's the contrast between light and dark that's bad. So if I view my phone right now, but I'm in like a bright, like well lit up room, right? The effects are not as bad. But if I'm like, I've already closed the lights and I get a notification on my phone, and then I open my phone and I check that notification when it's literally like pitch black in my room. It's like pitch black, and then I check my phone. The contrast is massive because I got all this blue light from my phone. It's super bright, but the rest of my room is dark. So I found that is what really, really like fucks up your sleep. So make sure you're not viewing your phone after you turn the lights off. And, obviously you shouldn't be viewing your phone regardless or have that many bright lights on before you go to sleep. Let's see here. Right. The second thing for having a good night routine is to give your brain time to decompress. Okay? If you don't give your brain just some like breathing room and some thinking time throughout the day, what's going to happen is when you go to sleep, your brain is going to then like overload and decompress when you're sleeping. And you don't want this because your brain is just going to give you racing thoughts. So if you've ever like tried to go to sleep and then your brain just keeps having these like racing thoughts, just thought after thought after thought, that's because throughout the whole day, you were probably fucking like scrolling every like 3 seconds and you didn't give yourself any like blank space to just let your brain reflect. The best way I found to do this is just after I eat dinner, since I'm like super groggy, I'm like super full because I try and eat a lot, I'm bulking, right? And I'm really lethargic, I can't really do that much work. I usually go on a 15-minute to 30-minute walk. And then just during this walk, I don't listen to any music or something. Okay, that's a lie. Sometimes I listen to music. But during this walk, it really just enables my brain just some time to like think, like relieve the day, decompress, and that prevents any racing thoughts during the night. Let's see here. Right. So again, have like a very strict night routine, okay? You want a night routine that starts at the same time and also ends at the same time, which means you go to bed at the same time every day. This is very important, okay? Going to bed within like a 5-minute window every single day is really, really important. And this is all just due to like brain association. So if I always go to bed, always exactly at 8:30, okay? I sleep like really early because I gotta, obviously, if you saw the last video, I wake up at 5:30. So if you go to bed at 8:15, which is when I go to bed, every single day, just 8:15 sharp within like a 5-minute period. So between 8:12 and like maybe 8:16 or something. You'll just sleep way, way better. I don't know the specific science, but obviously like regularity probably has something to do with it. If you sleep at the same time every single day, your brain probably gets familiar with it and it knows when to like make you sleepy or drowsy. So this is one of the best things you can do. Go to bed within a 5-minute window every day and have a very strict night routine before that, because it's the same sort of idea, right? If I shower at the same time every day, and every single day after I shower, I always brush my teeth, and then I always gratitude journal, and then I always stretch, in just this order, going through these motions is gonna like prepare my brain, because my brain like recognizes these things as shit that I do before I go to bed. So doing these things, going through the cycle, is gonna prepare my brain for sleep. Let's see here. Right, so a core habit that I do before I go to sleep is meditate. Meditate is gonna help a lot. Just meditate before you go to sleep. Meditation has a lot of very good effects for your like mental health, your productivity, your discipline, your willpower, your attention span, yada yada yada. I could talk about meditation for fucking hours, but just meditate before you go to sleep. I usually just do it on my bed. So like on my bed for 10 minutes before I go to bed, I literally like lie there, and then I just go to Medito and I put on a 10-minute meditation. I usually do that because I don't fall asleep in 10 minutes usually. So, and then I'm able to like get in like a quick meditation. If you fall asleep during the meditation, that's like, it's like a win-win, because you still meditated like maybe 5 minutes, 3 minutes while you had consciousness, and then you ended up falling asleep within 10 minutes, which is like a super short time frame. So good on you. And then the last thing is just to be a little cold. So after I shower, right now it's the perfect temperature. After I shower, I just don't wear a shirt. That just makes me a little bit cold. And then when I go to bed, I end up just a little bit cold, which is what your body needs to be for you to fall asleep. Okay, so now you know everything you need to know to get like a perfect night's sleep, right? I have more sleep videos. You can check them out after this video. But you should be able to get a very, very high quality night's sleep with everything I just talked about. Now let's actually talk about the morning. So when you first wake up, the most important thing to have a good morning, the very most important thing to not procrastinating, is to just perk up immediately. Just like the moment you wake up, the moment you just go like, ugh, just fucking like, ugh, just like out of your bed, just immediately within like a 5-second window. If you don't do this, you are going to lay in your bed for a little bit, like whether it be like a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. And then during this time is time at which you could procrastinate or do other things or like, snooze your alarm or anything else. So perk up immediately. There's 2 things I would recommend for this. The first one is to do like a commitment exercise. And this is going to sound really wishy-washy, really bullshitty, but I promise you it works. So just before in the night, okay, you can do this when you're showering or just when you're going through your night routine. Just repeat in your head, like, I'm going to perk up immediately tomorrow. I'm going to perk up immediately tomorrow. Tomorrow, the first thing I do when I wake up is just get up. And if you repeat that in your brain for just like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, however long you want to, but it has to be like, 5 minutes at minimum. You can't just do it like 3 times. I found that the commitment and like you doing this kind of translates to when I wake up. So when I wake up, that's like one of the first things I remember. And the moment I remember that, I'm just able to get up like right away. Obviously, I don't like fucking know like the science behind this. Yeah, I could probably give you some bro science, but this is just a thing that I've been doing that's been working very, very well for me as of recently. So during my night routine, like when I shower, I just repeat this in my brain. And then like while I'm like going through the motions of my night routine, like brushing my teeth, I'll also just repeat this in my brain. And this like commitment is sort of like stored and saved up for the morning. And when the morning, it like really helps me just perk up. The second thing you can do, you probably know this, just put your phone, if you have an alarm, use an alarm, put your phone away from your bed. Okay? And the reason having your phone within arm's reach of you when you're going to sleep is so like destructive is because the moment you wake up, you're probably like a little groggy, right? A little groggy, a little, what's the word? Groggy. You're like groggy. You're not like, you're not like fucking filled with discipline, right? Because you just woke up. So it's very easy to like grab your phone and just immediately start procrastinating because you're like not in like the right sense, right? So I found that whenever I keep my phone within arm's reach, there's always that temptation the moment I wake up to just like grab my phone and like scroll in bed or some shit. So if I just keep it outside of reach, especially if it's got like a really annoying alarm that I hate that I really want to close, it also just forces me to get up. And I found, at least for me, that once I get up, it's like, if you sleep well, this is the thing, if you sleep well, once you get up, you're not going to want to go back to bed because you don't actually need more sleep. You're not going to wake up that tired. On that matter of waking up not that tired, you want to be sleeping in 90-minute or ultradian cycles. So you sleep in 90 minutes, and I'm just going to skip all the science. You can watch, an Andrew Huberman podcast if you want to see it. But basically, how long have I been recording? Okay. Basically, if you sleep at the end of a 90-minute cycle, you'll wake up better. Because at the end and the start of these 90-minute cycles is when you are in your like lightest mode of sleep. So you don't want to be waking up. You don't want your alarm to be sounding when you're in deep sleep because then you're going to wake up like super groggy, right? But if it's during light sleep, you're going to wake up a lot better with a lot more energy. So examples of this would be sleeping for like 7 hours and 30 minutes or like 9 hours. Those 2 are probably what you aim for. The last thing that's very important for your ability to like perk straight up out of bed is to wake up warm. Okay? When I know I said you have to be a little cold before you go to sleep, but usually what I do is I take my shirts off after I shower. I'm a little cold. But when I actually get to bed, I usually put the shirt back on, or I even like wear my robe sometimes. And this is because, shit, there was something in my mouth, sorry. This is because when I wake up cold, you just want to stay under the fucking covers, right? Because the covers are nice and warm and cozy. You woke up cold. If you get out, it's going to be fucking freezing. Especially if you're waking up early like you're supposed to. If like, bro, waking up at 5:30 a.m., it's fucking cold when I get out of bed. And if I don't have like a robe right next to me or I didn't wake up warm, it's very hard to find the motivation to like purposely go in that cold. So, and this is going to help with like the first habit of your morning routine as well. So Yeah, what I recommend is to always wake up warm. Because if you wake up warm, getting out of your covers is way easier. Because you're already warm. When you get out, it's not going to be fucking freezing. So, okay, that covers like, you know, how you actually wake up. So basically now you have the perfect sleep. And now the moment you wake up, you're able to just go like, ugh, you know, get buzzed with fucking energy and just get straight out of your bed. The first thing you should always do that I think is just fucking amazing after you wake up, and it's very hard, but the ROI on it is very worth it, is to cold shower. The reason being is the cold shower, obviously it's cold, right? It like fucking shocks you. So the moment you cold shower, it's gonna remove any grogginess you have, any like fucking tiredness you have, because it's cold. It's gonna like boost your adrenaline and shit. There's other benefits. There's shit ton of health benefits for cold showering. So if you're not convinced, you can literally just search up benefits of cold showering. They'll give you like a fucking like 30 reasons. The next thing about cold showering is it's very fucking hard. Okay, this is why, you know, you gotta wake up warm. Because can you imagine like waking up cold? You're already cold, and then you have to fucking cold shower. Like, that'd be miserable. So a cold shower is a very difficult thing to do, and if you do it the first thing when you wake up, it makes the rest of your morning comparatively easier. And if the rest of the morning is comparatively easier, you're less likely to procrastinate any work you have. You're going to be more disciplined. You're going to have more willpower. You're going to have more motivation. So cold showering first thing. And then the very next thing after cold showering, I would recommend is to just view sunlight. So this kind of sucks for me because I wake up at like 5:15, and so there's barely any sunlight out. But if you do wake up, like, you know, maybe a little later, like 6 or something, right? And there's sun out, right after your cold shower, I would just go outside and I would look, like, don't look directly at the sun. Don't fucking burn your retinas, but like get some sunlight in your eyes. And Andrew Huberman has a bunch of science on this. I don't want to explain the science. I don't even know the science that well. But basically, this is going to be super good for you, okay? It's very good for you. It's also going to time your 24-hour circadian rhythm clock, so that way you can go to sleep way better, and you can also wake up way better. It's going to have a bunch of other things like giving you an energy booster, you know, daily vitamin D, whatever. When I did do this consistently because the sun was out, what I did was I would just like, I'd drink some water, or I'd like make some tea or some shit, right? I'd boil some water, I'd make some tea, like while I was cold showering. And then I would just go outside, I'd like drink my tea, or I'd drink my hot water while just like looking like at the sky or something, like a proximity close to the sun for like 5-10 minutes. And if you can't do this, looking at bright lights will have like some effect. It will be like pretty good, but it's not as good as like looking at the sun. So the sun is what you should always be aiming for. And that basically ends the video, because if you've done these things, right, you woke up, perked up immediately, and then right after you cold showered, and then right after you looked at the sun, I found that it's very hard to procrastinate and like fuck up the rest of your morning from these two things, right? Because it's really stupid to be waking up at like 6 a.m., like 2 hours earlier than you usually wake up, and then you cold shower, which is super hard, and then you like look outside in the sun for like 5-10 minutes. It's very hard to like just go home and just like scroll after that. You feel like such like a dumb like retard who wasted all your like efforts if you do that. So that's basically the end of the video. I promise if you do those things, you're gonna have the best morning of your life. It's gonna be fucking amazing. It's gonna take time, obviously. So like the first time you do this, because you're gonna be adjusting to a new sleep schedule and a bunch of other new things as you go along. So the first time you do this, you still might be a little groggy. Don't like, just trust the process. Don't go back to this video and leave like a hate comment or something saying like, wow, this shit didn't work. But yeah, that's basically everything. Okay, I guess one last thing to say, I forgot to say, is that right after you do finish up with your morning routine, let's say you want to brush your teeth, let's say you want to like maybe eat a snack or something, right after you finish, immediately go do the hardest task. You immediately go eat the frog, do the hardest task you have for your work in that day. I have videos on eating the frog, so you can watch those as well. Okay, anyways, that's about everything. See you guys.